Most of us consider criminals to be scary people who live the types of lives that we try to shy away from. Petty criminals are usually caught pretty quickly and removed from society, at least for a while. But there are some very scary people who are still at large and who need to be caught so that they can pay for their heinous deeds. Number 5. Between 2000 and 2006, police started to notice a trend in which women who often visited the high crime area of Albuquerque's Central Avenue started to go missing with alarming frequency. Since the area is known to be frequented by some seriously scary people, they were certain that something nefarious was going on. The first to disappear was 21-year-old Monica Candelaria in May of 2003. Her case was investigated by the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office, but when no real progress was made, it became a cold case. The second was 27-year-old Doreen Marquez, who was last seen dropping her child off at school in October of 2003. She was never seen again. Next was Victoria Chavez, who was last seen in early 2004. She wasn't reported missing by her mother until March of 2005. Veronica Romero was reported missing on the 15th of February, 2004, after going missing on Valentine's Day. Jamie Barella disappeared in April of 2004. Her cousin, Evelyn Salazar, vanished in the same month. Selania Edwards was reported missing in May of the same year. Virginia Cloven a month later. Cinnamon Elks the following month in July. Julie Nieto was last seen at her grandfather's house in August. And Michelle Valdez was reported missing in February of 2005, when she failed to call her mother for her birthday. Ida Lopez, an Albuquerque police detective, started compiling a list of all of the missing women, and it would be published by the Albuquerque Tribune on September 15, 2007. But on the 2nd of February, a woman was walking her dog in an empty lot near 118th Street and Dennis Chavez Avenue when she stumbled upon a human bone. When police excavated the site, they found that the lot was used to dump all 11 of the women after their lives were ended, and they knew that they were dealing with a serial killer. Despite having many suspects and eventually narrowing down that list to just 5 people, they were never able to gather enough evidence, and the West Mesa bone collector remains on the loose to this day. Number 4. During the 1980s, police were certain that a serial killer was on the loose along major highways in the United States, since all of the victims were red-headed women. The first victim was an unidentified woman who was found on the 13th of February, 1983, along Route 250 near Littleton in Wetzel County, West Virginia. Residents reported seeing a man who was around 5'6" near the site on the same day, but he was never identified. The following year, 28-year-old Lisa Nichols was found along Interstate 40 near West Memphis, Arkansas. In 1985, 2 more unidentified women were left in Campbell County, Tennessee, along Interstate 75. Then, in March of that same year, police got a break in the case when a red-headed woman named Linda Shack reported that a truck driver named Jerry Johns unsuccessfully tried to strangle her before dumping her at the side of Interstate 40 in Knox County, Tennessee. Johns was quickly arrested, but he was ultimately ruled out as a suspect since he had airtight alibis for the days on which the other women lost their lives. Over the next 2 months, 3 more victims would be found along highways in Tennessee and Kentucky. Police then decided to contact the FBI to ascertain whether the cases truly were related, and on the 24th of April, 1985, officials from Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Kentucky, Mississippi, and Arkansas met with FBI representatives, but their results were inconclusive, as some of the women had red hair while others were strawberry blonde. Steve Watson from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation stated that while there were many similarities in the cases, there were also a number of dissimilarities, and it couldn't be conclusively ruled that the cases were indeed connected. Several other cases have been since linked to the previous ones, as more women have been found by the sides of highways. But since there is no conclusive evidence pointing to a single killer, these cases remain unsolved, and may remain so forever. Number 3. The Long Island serial killer, also known as the Craigslist Ripper, is a serial killer who is still at large and who operated in the South Shore area of Long Beach, New York between 1996 and 2010. The first victim, Melissa Bartholomew, was found next to Ocean Parkway in Oak Beach on the 11th of December 2010. The discovery came about when police were searching for a 24-year-old street worker named Shannon Gilbert, who disappeared in the area of May of that year. When an officer was asked to inspect the area with his dog, they stumbled upon the grisly scene, and subsequently 9 more victims were found, and all were linked to the same killer since forensic evidence was found at each site. They stated that they were certain that the person responsible was from Long Island, and in June of 2011, Suffolk County Police announced that a $25,000 reward was being offered for any information leading to the arrest of the Long Island killer. On the 10th of December 2015, the FBI joined the investigation after former police commissioner James Burke was indicted for civil rights violations and conspiracy. It came to light that Burke had been blocking FBI involvement in the case for years, but his removal now made it possible for agents to become involved. On the 12th of September 2017, it was announced that John Betroff, a carpenter from Manorville in Long Beach, was a suspect in the case. And although it was proposed that genetic genealogy be used to identify the killer, his guilt has not been proven. In January of 2020, Suffolk County Police Commissioner Geraldine Hart released images of a belt that was found at the crime scene. It was made of black leather and had the initials HM or WH, depending on the viewer's perspective, embossed on it. The true identity of the killer has been much speculated about in the media, with the New York Times proposing that it's a white male in his mid-20s to mid-40s who knows the South Shore of Long Island very well. They suspect that he would have had ready access to burlap sacks, and that he may have had in-depth knowledge of law enforcement techniques, possibly even being involved in law enforcement. Newsday considered that Joel Rifkin may have been responsible, as he was a former resident of Long Beach, but during an interview with Newsday, Rifkin denied any involvement. Other possible suspects are Joseph Brewer from Oak Beach, James Burke, who blocked the FBI's involvement, Peter Hackett, also from Oak Beach, and James Bissett, whose plant nursery was the main supplier of the burlap in the area. Bissett ended his own life, however, and the Long Island killer case is yet to be solved. Number 2. The Colonial Parkway in Virginia is a scenic 23-mile stretch of road that from 1986 to 1989 was the scene for a spate of 4 double murders that occurred in the area. All of the victims were couples, or would appear to an outsider to be one, given credence to the claim that they were all connected and likely the handiwork of a single individual. The first victims were 27-year-old Kathleen Thomas and 21-year-old Rebecca Andowski. On the 27th of October, 1986, the couple was found inside Thomas's white Honda Civic in Williamsburg. It was found that attempts had been made to set the car on fire after the two women's lives had already been ended, but the diesel that was used failed to ignite. Both women's purses and money were still in the car, ruling out the possibility of robbery as a motive. Then on the 20th of September, 1987, David Knobling and Robin Edwards were found on the south shore of the James River in Isle of Wight County, also in Virginia. Knobling's truck was found parked next to the James River Bridge with the wipers and radio still on. Some articles of clothing were found inside, and 3 days later, it was discovered that a firearm had been used to end their lives after they were found next to the river by a search party. On the 10th of April, 1988, Cassandra Lee Haley and Richard Keith Call, both students at Christopher Newport University, were reported missing after they had attended a party in the university square. It was their first date, and Call's empty car was found at the York River Overlook the next day, with a few clothing items inside. They've never been heard from or seen again. The fourth couple, Anna Maria Phelps and Daniel Lauer, disappeared while they were traveling to Virginia Beach. Anna Maria was the girlfriend of Lauer's brother at the time, and the car that they were traveling in, a gold Chevrolet Nova, was found at the I-40 New Kent rest stop, and it was found that the car had been traveling in the wrong direction. The couple would later be found deceased by hunters on a logging road in a wooded area along Interstate 64. It appeared at the time that a sharpened blade was used in the attack. To this day, no suspects have been named, and the Colonial Parkway killer remains at large. Number 1. The Butcher of Mons, who is still on the loose, is possibly the worst serial killer in the history of Belgium. The first discovery was made in March of 1997, when a police officer found 8 plastic trash bags in the town of Mons that contained the remains of 3 women. It was found that at least 5 of the bags came from the municipality of Knock-Heist. The following day, another of the bags was found with another victim inside, and this time it was clear that whoever had left them there had surgical knowledge. The following month, 2 more bags were discovered, near the Haine River, containing yet another victim. Police tried to establish a link between the victims, and they realized that they all frequented the Mons railway station area and had socio-economic family issues. A special investigation team called the Corpus Cell was put together, but they have been largely unsuccessful in making any progress in the case, as the team has consisted of only 4 members since 2007. There have been multiple suspects in the case, including a man who was arrested in Montenegro in 2007 at the request of the US authorities. But Montenegro refused to extradite him because of his citizenship. He was, however, sentenced to 12 years in prison after he ended the life of another woman, and he passed away in prison in 2012. In February of 2010, 62-year-old Jack Antoine was arrested after he assaulted a beautician. 2 letters had been sent to investigators by his son, in which he claimed Antoine to be the butcher, since he had visited Knock-Heist on several occasions carrying garbage bags. It was found, however, that Antoine merely wanted to sell them in a store in Mons, but was unable to, as the store already carried that brand. No further leads have been found, and the identity of the Butcher of Mons remains unknown. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But I've been Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.